Latest football news, engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk from home with me, George, Dan and Piers. Still not on IO Radio, but we are getting very, very close to days. It's getting more exciting, it is. Like football at the moment. Football is back. We're all excited to see football back, aren't we, guys?
100%.
Yeah, super excited. Yeah.
we are super excited, so much so Piers is repping a different shirt this week. He's repping Inter Milan, not Chelsea.
You know,
Next week's going to be Ipswich Town, isn't it? We're converting them slowly.
possibly. We'll see.
We're getting closer, Dan. We're getting closer to converting, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
We're getting very close. Well, if you want to follow us on any of our social medias, it's pretty simple. The Twitter's at Pitchside Talk, Instagram's Talk_Pitch, YouTube is Pitchside Talk, and Mixcloud is Pitchside Talk as well. And well, we've got a big show for today. We're talking about Ipswich Town. They're back in action. They've got we're talking about one of their games, and they've got a big game happening this week in the Cup. Can't wait for that. We've got the Premier League that returned. 16 teams returned in that. And also we've got a Carabao Cup roundup because that's happening as well. Football is just everywhere. You know, it's football every day. It's so fun to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I love that football's back now.
We all love football. Well, starting off with Ipswich Town, they kicked off the season with a winning start and a 2-0 victory against Wigan. Piers predicted that very well. Well done, Piers. You got a bonus point there. Once again. Well, thanks to Teddy Bishop and Grion Edwards getting the goals, putting them joint second in the League One. Well, fifth, but they're joint second technically. So, guys, it's so good so far, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I guess so. So good. So, yeah, if I could actually say it right, then yes, I agree with you. But this game, coming into this game, obviously we'd lost the trophy game against Arsenal, but it was a good performance against Bristol Rovers before that. So I think we were coming into this game with quite a lot of confidence. Obviously, it was on Sky, so people were a bit worried about that. I think we've won before this game, it was 23 losses in 25 Sky games, which is quite embarrassing. But so the confidence wasn't too high going into the start of the game. But I think from the off, we looked quite good. We were playing around quite well. Got the early goal, and after that, it kind of doled out a little bit. I think, there was a few mistakes at the back from us. I think I'm still worried about the defence a little bit. We weren't great defensively. They had a few free headers that they should have scored, but I think in the midfield we were really good. And up to half time, we looked like we were in control of the game. Wigan didn't really look like they were threatening too much. Second half was pretty much nothing. Nothing really happened. I don't know. I'm just scared if we put in a second half performance like that, where we just control the game against someone like Peterborough, we'll get done by them. So I guess the performance in the second half was okay, but it wasn't the best performance I've seen from us. But we were in the lead, we were controlling the game. Wigan didn't really look a threat, and then we got that second goal, which gave us the 3 points. So overall, I'm happy, but still, there's a few little negatives in there in our performance of the weekend.
Yeah, but it looks like it's sort of back to old really with that performance, beating a side that deserves to still be in the Championship. That's still a Championship side if we look at it. With what's going on behind the scenes, it's not nice to see, but it's just they controlled the game really.
Yeah, I thought it just looked good. I think so. Players like Bishop done really well. He probably should have got 2 that game. I think he was unlucky with his second shot. Going forwards, and I think mainly in the midfield, I thought it just looked really, really strong and looked. They surprised me a little bit, especially in the first half. I just think, like Dan said, at the back, it looked like sort of I'd say Wigan had sort of 2 clear-cut chances they probably could have scored from within that. It was just sort of like balls in and headers, which obviously it's still got the clean sheets. So that's the most important thing, but obviously that's still an area they probably should look at over the next few games. I thought overall that was good for them. I thought they'd come in strong. That's something that Ipswich needed to do because they had a disappointing end to the season last year. So to come back in now and get the win, I'm sure it's brought all the spirits up for the fans.
Yeah, it looks like this victory has released a new lease of life at Portman Road and Ipswich Town. They've ended the Sky jinx. The ship has set sailed once again, like it did last year. Dan, was it 100 points, 100 goals sort of scheme that's been released? That's come back out.
Of course.
It's a shame there's no fans there, because it would have been great. It would have been a big morale boost for Ipswich to have fans there. But it looks like having no fans there sort of releases that little bit of pressure away from the side, because we know it wasn't a pretty end to last season. There's a lot of fans not happy with Paul Lambert's selection, how the team were performing. But it looks like Ipswich Town are a different team to what they were 8 months ago.
Yeah, maybe. I think, I don't know. I think Lambert's kind of going with a different approach this season, it seems. I know there's all this thing about tough love, pre-season, stuff like that. I'm quite surprised that Lambert's gone with that kind of approach, because that wasn't what it was like last season at all. And I think it's good so far that we've kind of stuck with the same starting 11 for all of our 3 games so far, which is something that we didn't do last year, obviously, which kind of cost us. So yeah, I think so far so good. I think the fans not being there maybe puts the pressure off the players a little bit, but I don't know. I think that having the fans there does affect, especially at Portman Road, it does affect the games. And obviously, there was negative energy at the end of last year. We weren't happy with the way Lambert was putting out the teams and his tactics and stuff like that. So maybe, I think the pressure maybe put off the players a little bit. But still, it's the first game of the season. We've got a long way to go. I'll see what we do tonight and on Saturday.
Yeah, I think, there's only so much you can tell from the first 9 minutes. Obviously, it's a good positive start. It's going to be good to see, but I think you got to see how they do over sort of after these League Cup games, when all these, crazy amount of midweek games come in, see how Ipswich do once they've been tested over sort of 5, 6, 7, over the first 10, 15 games. Then I think you'll be able to sort of assess how everything's going to go. But, so far so good. You can't complain. Ipswich Town clean sheet and players scoring and looking attacking and dangerous. So I'd say so far it's all good.
I suppose I should have done my research. I don't know when the last time I had a clean sheet. Oh gosh, I just gone past my mind there. Yeah, that's a long time since I had a clean sheet as well. That's quite good for Ipswich Town. We don't see many clean sheets at Portman Road, or even when they play at all. But 2 players who really impressed and looked like quite a key part of Ipswich Town's squad was Telly Bishop and Andre Dazelle. Firstly, Telly Bishop scoring the opener was that he said "yee" as he headed the ball as being caught.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite good, that was. But his first goal since Bournemouth 2014, which was 2,122 days. Also, funny enough, on that day, Wolves lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. Fulham lost 2-1 to Brentford. And Leeds lost 2-1 to Blackburn. So it shows how times have changed. All those sides now in the Premier League. His first goal ever at Portman Road, all the time he's been playing there. But he's shown how much of a good player he is now for Ipswich. He's been missing a long time with injuries and not getting selected, but it looks like now he's coming to his own, because he won man the match. He looks like he could be so crucial for Ipswich Town this season.
Yeah, he does. And, we know how good he can be, and he's shown so much in the past, 4 or 5 years, that he can really be a fantastic player for us. And obviously, as you said, he's been out with injury quite a lot. He's had a lot of struggles. I think he's missed 2 or 3 seasons in that time. So, yeah, he's definitely coming to his own. I think the last few games that he's played, he's looked really, really good. And, I think he's a really good attacking option we have. The way he picks up the ball and runs at defenders, it's brilliant. And I love to see him do that. And yeah, to get his first goal, fantastic at Portman Road, fantastic for him. Really long time since his first goal. I think he was like 18 when he scored, which is mad. So, and I'm really looking forward to see how he does this season, because I think our midfield looks really good this year, and with him in it, I think it can be fantastic.
Yeah, Piers, the Ipswich Town sort of expressed and Paul Down expressed about this midfield trio, and he's part of that. That's quite key, really, him being constantly involved. And also, he's matured over time, but he's now got a lot to show. He's been injured so much, and it's so good to see him back scoring. He could be quite a key factor, because he missed a lot of last season through injury. He came in at the end of the season, showed glimpses of what he can do, but he's now got a full season ahead of him. This could be quite good for him, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely for him and players like Dazelle. You know, both of them have been scrutinised and sort of people have been dealt on them over the last sort of seasons or so. So asking, you know, are they good enough for Ipswich? You know, obviously Bishop, he's been through so many injuries, unfortunately for him. You know, he hasn't really had a consistent good run to show how good he is. But I think this league is going to be brilliant for both of them, and especially for Bishop. You know, if he can keep fit. You know, he looked amazing up there. He's played the last few games, and he looks really good. You know, I think, like Dan said, Ipswich got one of the best midfields in that league. Really, when you look at it for the talent that's on the pitch there. So I think, you know, if he can keep the goals coming and he can keep playing like that, that's going to help Ipswich so much in this promotion push.
We said that about Andre Dazelle. Another good performance put in. That's his 50th start for Ipswich Town. It's the first ever time he's played 5 consecutive games. Some of them played last season, which was 8 months ago, but still it's 5 consecutive games. He's showing off his quality. You know, he's dictating the tempo of the play. His long-range passes, getting some of those counter-attack starts. I think he helped that Sears one, which should have gone in, but was ever so close. But he looks like now he's cemented his place into the starting 11. And if he's missing, that's the difference now of Ipswich Town winning or losing, really, because he's getting forward, and that's what they need to do, is just get forward. They looked so negative last season. He looks quite positive. He wants to play football properly.
Yeah, he does, and obviously Dazelle's another player that struggled with injury. I think he had a long-term injury a few seasons ago. I think he did his ACL. So yeah, he's had a tough time as well. But again, this season so far, he's looked absolutely fantastic. I think last season he had an okay season. I think it was a doubt for me. He could be starting every single game last year. I think obviously he showed glimpses, but I don't think he was able to start every single game. You know, I sometimes thought he was a bit weak, but this season he showed really what he can do. And some of the passes he plays are absolutely fantastic. The way he can pick up the ball, quickly look out to the wing, see if someone's free, and release the ball super quickly. It's fantastic, and I love to watch him do that. And you know, I'm rooting for him because you know he's come through our academy. He's had a tough time, and I think this season's really looking good for him, and he can push on this year if he stays fit. And yeah, I think he's an absolutely crucial player. And the thing is, I think in that midfield three, Bishop, if Downs is going to stay, and Dazelle, I think that is probably the best midfield three in the league. And well, obviously with Dazelle in there, it's looking fantastic.
God, it sounds like this is Town last season. We've got the best squad in the league. We're going to go up, and things didn't work out like that.
The defence is another area that's a bit worse, I'd say.
Yeah, I think you have to be excited for that midfield three. You know, especially with Dazelle. It'd be good to see him. You know, if he can keep consistently at this level throughout the season, that would be amazing for him. Obviously, if he's got the support of Bishop and Downs, if he stays, I'm not too sure what's going on with that at the moment. But if he does, then that'll only help strengthen the squad, and that'll probably help him as well to have such class players around him. It will help him express his football, because I think sometimes I think some of his troubles is having people supporting him within the team during the games has been. But I think with the team now, maybe Lambert's new approach just might help him.
Yeah, looks like that might happen. Well, even with a good performance, there was some negatives defensively point of view. Looked a bit shaky at the back, but massively. No Wolfenden, no Lancaster that both sustained knocks on the Friday of the training. No Kane Vincent-Young, no Jackson, no Downs. When Lambert was questioned about Flynn Downs, he didn't even know if he wanted to play. He hadn't even asked him. Despite him being in the game, attending the stadium, watching the game, he didn't even know if he wanted to play. And also, Ipswich Town have received an offer for Caden Jackson for 2.5 million from Birmingham City. At the moment, off the pitch, it looks like some worrying times. I know, you know, it's good money coming in for these players, but we don't know if it's going to be reinvested into the team. And those are some good players. They were key players last year. It's not looking good at the moment, is it?
No, the transfer saga is kind of, you know, it's complicated and it's not really looking good. I think, obviously, with Downs, I think the fact that Lambert said, I don't think he wanted to play, that really annoyed me. You're the manager. You need to make sure that he doesn't want to play. I mean, for God's sake, all you've got to do is ask him. I think that was really odd. But for me, he's an Ipswich player. He's our best player, so he should be starting. I don't know what the issue is. I guess maybe he just wants to get the move to the Premier League. But, you know, you're an Ipswich player. Just put the shirt on and play while you're here. So, yeah, that's a problem. Downs is a problem. I think it's more than likely that he'll probably leave. I think if Palace or anyone else puts the right offer in, Evans will accept it because it's obvious that he wants to leave. So, yeah, that's a blow because I think he could have been really good this year. You know, I said at the start of the summer that I don't think that we'll keep him, but it's got to the start of the season now and we've still got him. So, yeah, I do think that'll be a blow. As for Caden Jackson, I think that'll be a blow as well. I know people don't really rate him, but I think there's a player in there. I think he did really well last year. You know, he assisted and scored last year, but I think 2.5 million from Birmingham, I think we'll accept that. And when you look at it, I think it's good business. We signed him for 1.6 million. He didn't really have a very good first season in the Championship. Had an okay season last year. Sold him for 2.5. I think that's good business from us. Obviously, I think we'll miss him, but I'm okay with Jackson leaving for 2.5.
As Dan sort of said that, it's good business, but the one thing is that going to be put back into the squad? That's the main question. If Marcus Evans is serious about getting out of the league, he's got to put that money back in there. But will that happen? Will we see this happen?
Yeah, I agree. That's the most important thing. You know, if you're going to sell a player for that amount of money, you'd like to think that they're going to try and invest it back in for another one. But you know what Ipswich are like. They'll wait it out and buy a non-league striker, the non-league top striker for, I don't know, 200 grand, and then wonder why he's not performing. But yeah, I think especially if they get money for Downs and for Jackson, it'll be nice. You know, if they get a decent amount, maybe they should try and invest it in sort of 2-3 players. It would be nice for them to do, but like Dan said, when you're getting offered that sort of money in Ipswich's position, you can't see them saying no. So whether they invest it or not is, I don't think they will. I don't think they'll invest that amount of money in players. I think they'll spend a quarter of that on players. But I mean, it's all about business, I guess, for Evans.
Yes, it's always about business at the end of the day. Well, Ipswich are back in business or back playing tonight against Fulham in the Carabao Cup second round. Paul Lambert wasn't speaking yesterday, his assistant Stuart Taylor was, and he confirmed that Cole Skuse, Caden Jackson will miss the game. They will be assessed over the next few days if they can play against the Bristol Rovers. I think Caden Jackson's a bit of a weird one. I don't really know if he's injured or not. I don't know if it's just a part of the transfer saga, like Flynn Downs. Kane Vincent-Young is out. He's going to be starting a new rehab process to benefit him, hoping to get him back sooner rather than later playing for Ipswich Town. He's been missed so much. And also Flynn Downs has been training, which Stuart Taylor described, with the lads, which I thought was a bit creepy. But he will be spoken before the game if he wants to play this time instead of, I don't know if he wants to play, as Paul Lambert once famously said. But it looks like Fulham are going to be playing a B team tonight. They've got a World Cup winner possibly in a net. Some of their new summer signings are going to possibly get a game after they didn't play against Arsenal on the weekend. This could be quite an interesting game. But will it be able to perform an upset, or is it going to be a bit one-sided? Or Fulham going to more look at this, we need to focus on the Premier League. This is something that's not one of our priorities this season.
Yeah, it's weird because usually if Ipswich are going into a game against a Premier League side, I'd be like, yeah, we're going to get thrashed. But I don't know what it is. I have a feeling that we could cause an upset. I don't know why. I don't know why I think that. I think, you know, Fulham kind of come to this game without any confidence. I think they'll be focusing on the league, trying to stay up, and they haven't really been performing well. I know they're a Premier League side, but you know, the loss against Arsenal was a big one, and they didn't perform very well. So. Yeah, I think we go into this game, and I think we could really go for it. I really want us to just try and get the win and try and get a cup run. I think Sheffield Wednesday beat Rochdale to go through, so we've got Sheffield Wednesday at home for the next round if we beat Fulham. I don't want to predict us a win, though. That's the thing, because I know what will happen. But yeah, I really think we should just go for it. I think Lambert maybe put a few changes, but I think the lineup will kind of stay the same, like he's done for the last 3 games. So yeah, I'm going into this game kind of half confident that we can put in a performance, but then it's a Premier League side, it's Fulham. So I don't know. I think maybe it'll most probably be a loss, but hopefully a narrow one.
Yeah, I know where Dan's coming from. Normally, I don't know if Ipswich were playing West Ham or I don't know, West Brom, maybe something like that. You would think, maybe it's going to happen. But with Fulham, I don't know what it is. It's just a mentality. But then I think you can think of it two ways. So they're going to want to focus on the league. But I don't know after that upset against Arsenal. I don't know if they want to get embarrassed any further, and then they're going to go for the win. But sort of if they're playing with a B team, that gives Ipswich every chance. But I do think still with some of the problems Ipswich are having at the back at the moment, that will be if Ipswich do lose, it'll be because of a silly mistake. I don't think Ipswich are going to get outclassed here. I think they're going to put on a good performance. I wouldn't say it'd even be, really, I don't think it's going to be too much of an upset if they win, obviously because they're Premier League and we're Ipswich Town League One. But I don't think sort of it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think Ipswich are going to put a valiant effort. But I just think if they are going to lose, it is just going to be because of a stupid mistake.
Yeah, it does look like. Well, speaking about the Premier League side, Fulham, moving back to the Premier League. That returned on Saturday with Fulham in action, one of the 16 teams in action playing this weekend, the first match week back of the Premier League. I think 45 days between leagues, between the end of the Premier League and the start of the new season. I think one of the quickest turnarounds and one of the latest starts the Premier League has ever played, but we got the Premier League back in the end. Well, I better just quickly go through results. So starting off with actually Fulham, they played Arsenal on the opening day of the season, the first game of the Premier League season, and they lost 3-0 to Arsenal. Arsenal have won their first game in consecutive seasons, last time since 09-010. Also, Woodian, so he got 3 assists in 57 minutes. Mesut Ozil last season only got 3 assists in 38 games. So money well spent there on Woodian. And also Fulham lost their first opening game in 3 consecutive seasons. So it's not looking good for Fulham. For Crystal Palace, they won 1-0 against Southampton. Southampton have only won one of the previous 14 Premier League openers. And for Wolves, he netted his 50th league goal for Crystal Palace. So it looks pretty good, but Roy Hodgson doesn't know if he wants to stay or not. He wants him to go, I think. This is his main concern. Well, and also the champions, Liverpool played the champions of the Championship, Leeds, back in the Premier League after a 16-year absence, and Liverpool won that 4-3. Also, we have West Ham. They played Newcastle as a 2-0 victory to Newcastle. Newcastle recorded the first opening weekend victory in the Premier League since beating Tottenham back in the 11/12 season. A long time for them to wait. And also West Ham have lost more season openers than any other side in the Premier League with 14. West Brom lost 3-0 to Leicester on their return to the Premier League. So that means all the newly promoted sides have all lost their match day results. The last time that's done that was 13-14 season when Crystal Palace, Hull and Cardiff lost, and 2 of those clubs went down that season. I wonder if we'll get 2 of them go down this season in our league predictions, which you can check out in our previous episode. Also, Everton lost 1-0 to Tottenham. That's Mourinho's first ever opening day defeat as a manager. Gosh, he's breaking some new records at Tottenham this season. And also, Wolves won 2-0 against Sheffield United. And finally, Brighton lost 3-1 to Chelsea on the Monday Night Football. The last 2 times Chelsea won on Monday night, they won the Premier League. So things are looking quite up for them. They did that in the 16/17 season and the 14/15 season. Well done, lads. The Premier League is back, and I think we better start off with the champions of the Premier League versus the Championship. Champions of the Championship. That's a bit of a tongue twister right there. Dramatic game. Finished 4-3 to Liverpool. Start off with the champions of the Premier League. They were lucky to win because Leeds caused them so many problems with Bielsa's style of football. It looks like Bielsa's going to do quite well in the Premier League.
Yeah, it does. I thought Leeds looked really, really good. They to cause Liverpool problems is a massive task, and they've done that. They've showed what quality they have in their side, and I think they'll be absolutely fine staying up in this league, 100%. And after that performance, that just cemented that for me. I think that they were really good, and I think I wouldn't say Liverpool were lucky to win. I think maybe they deserved the win just in the end, but hat-trick from Salah. Liverpool looked good as well. So I think, I think Liverpool will take the win, like a narrow win against Leeds to start the season off. I don't think they wanted to be embarrassed by them. Obviously they weren't, but I think that Leeds looked really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to see how they do in this league, to see if they can actually, live up to the hype that they're being given. I don't think it'll be a massive season for them. I don't think they'll be in like the top 10 or anything, but I do think it's looking good for them, and I think they'll easily stay up this year.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game. Liverpool's so good. They're getting their players to try and score own goals now. So, good on from Trent. They made a couple of mistakes at the back. I think a standard. I think it always happens when champions come back. They've just got to get their mind straight again. After the sort of the Community Shield loss and that. But Leeds, they look brilliant. I thought they played. They played football. Obviously, that's their mentality, and they tried to do it. I thought they looked really good, and the goals they scored were good. But I think the main man for Liverpool that day was Mo Salah. He's really shown what a world-class player he is, isn't he? And obviously, with players like Messi and Ronaldo sort of, on their way out, I think he's shown that he's going to sort of contend to be that next biggest player. I really think. I thought he was really good. Liverpool put out a good performance, but like you said, Dan, with Leeds, I think they showed that they're not going to get relegated, and they are going to put up a good show this season.
Before we move on to Leeds, a little bit about Liverpool. Do we sort of see some problems with Liverpool? Because defensively, it's a bit shooken up. Are we sort of seeing problems from the title? I guess defenders. Really, it's a weird thing to say as a Liverpool fan, but there's some problems still at the club. It isn't looking all plain sailing, isn't it?
No, and I don't think any club is really plain sailing. I know last year Liverpool easily won the league, and it was plain sailing, really. But it's always going to come back. There'll be problems at some point. But I think they'll be fine. I think, there was a few mistakes defensively, but it's the first game of the season. It's against a newly promoted club, and you don't really know how they're going to perform. And I think with Leeds, I think that was what was happening. I think Leeds, they've been hyped up so much, and they put out a quality performance. And I just think that, this may be a little blip for the defensively for Liverpool. Obviously, Van Dijk made a mistake, but he scored a towering header as well. So, I think defensively Liverpool will be fine, and I think they can just, look at the mistakes they've made in this game against Leeds and go into the next one and, not make them again.
Yeah. I don't think you could sort of say much of a team over sort of 90 minutes like with Ipswich. I think with Liverpool, I think you have to judge them over the next few games and see how they're doing. But a few mistakes happened, but in good old Liverpool fashion, they still won the game, didn't they? So it doesn't matter. They the other teams, they still got the win. And I mean, Leeds did come fighting. I don't know if Liverpool expected them to come at them so much and try and win the game. Like, Leeds were playing as if they thought they were champions of the Premier League. They went out there to win. So I think for Liverpool, it shouldn't be too much of a shock. Obviously, the mistakes individually they'll have to look at so they don't happen again. But I would say overall, Liverpool aren't going to drop out the top four and end up 5th, 6th this season. I think they'll still challenge. So I just think it was just a couple of mistakes in the game.
Well, I hope these couple of mistakes don't happen next week, because we all know who Liverpool play next week. Can't wait for that show. Well, Bielsa, the goals that Leeds conceded, it's disappointing, but can he be proud of his side, the way they performed? Because I know it sounds weird, they came and play football. Bielsa's sort of football style is to come and play football, not to sit back, not to hold anything in the game. It's to go, attack. All those players on the pitch can score, and they showed that they're going to be a menace in the Premier League this season. And it looks like they're going to be, if they just keep doing that, it's going to work. They're going to be fine. They're not going to go down.
No, I think Bielsa should definitely be proud of the way his team performed. We all know what Bielsa's like and how he manages. You can't really tell what his emotions are like, can you? You can't you can't really tell what he's thinking. But I think he should be proud of the way Leeds performed. I think some of the goals they scored were fantastic, especially the third one. It was that was an amazing finish. But maybe he's a little bit disappointed by how some of the goals were conceded. But it's against the Premier League champions, and if you're gonna, score 3 against them and play against them well, and nearly get a draw out of it, then I think you should definitely be proud of the way your team's performed. And again, I think it shows that Leeds are going to be fine this year, and I think they're going to be, a team that, especially at Ellen Road, if fans come back, I think they're going to be a team that people are scared of playing.
Yeah, totally agree. Leeds, I think, if they play like that, they're going to get points against some of the top 6. You can definitely see them, getting points like Arsenal, Tottenham, and teams like Everton, and that'll be the point that will keep them up. And then, when you look at the bottom half of the table, if they play like that, they're probably going to beat most of those teams. They're going to beat all those the other newly promoted teams. They're going to make them look silly, really. So I think it's a good start for Leeds, and if they can keep this up, come summertime, if they get sort of that mid-table finish, they're only going to bring in more players, and it'll be good to see how they build on from there. But I think the only reason he'd be disappointed is probably because they had the chance to grab a point of that game. That would be the only reason I'd be disappointed, because they had the chance to take a point, and obviously they lost it in the end. But overall, I don't think you can be too disappointed. You scored 3 against Liverpool, the champions, so I think they've still got to be happy with that.
Well, a side that was made to look quite silly in the Premier League was Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur. They suffered an opening day defeat to Everton. After the game, Jose Mourinho criticised his players for being lazy when pressing. He said this quite a lot in his Amazon Prime documentary. If you've not watched that yet, All or Nothing on Tottenham, it's all available now. He expressed that the players look lazy, but also a big report that has come out that it's about him and Dele Alli. Those two have fallen out after Dele Alli was substituted at half-time. It looks like after one game back in the Premier League, it looks like Tottenham are in deep trouble on and off the pitch. Not looking great on the pitch. I know Jose said that he only had all the players for one day because they've been self-isolating, away on international duty, come back from injury. And off the pitch, it doesn't look very rosy there. It looks like this could be another troubling season for Tottenham if they don't get their act together again.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know what it is about Jose Mourinho. It's always him falling out with his players at every single club he goes to. I guess it's just his personality or something, but this is always happening. It happened at Man United, happened at Chelsea, it happens here as well. So, yeah, I think, it's not looking good behind the scenes. I'm going to admit I haven't watched All or Nothing, so I'm not sure what's happened on there, but I will get around to watching it at some point. But, it isn't looking good off the pitch. If Dele Alli and Mourinho have fallen out, which it looks like has happened, as it did at Man United, it's not gonna make the players happy. The morale's going to be down. Obviously, it was not a great performance against Everton. I know Everton are looking okay this season. They've made some good signings, but Tottenham should be beating them, I think. So, yes, it's really not looking good, and I don't know how this is going to be sorted out. I think Mourinho has the right to talk about his players like that, but I don't know. I think maybe if you're going to just outright say you're lazy, that's going to upset the players. But he is the manager. I guess it's fine for him to say that, but it's going to upset the players.
Yeah, what Mourinho's trying to do. He's trying to get a reaction out of his players, isn't he? I think he does it to try and motivate and set a fire on him. He does it all the time. Does it at every club. He loves criticising players, and obviously it doesn't work for every player. And obviously him and Dele Alli have had an argument. I'd imagine while Poch was there, him and Dele Alli probably got along quite well. Poch obviously had his favourites at his time there, and I think probably Dele Alli's probably struggling with a manager like Mourinho coming in. And sort of, a few years ago, Dele Alli was the golden boy, him and Harry Kane for Tottenham, and he was the bright star going off to Real Madrid and everything. And I think his form has dropped over the last sort of year or so, and probably with Mourinho coming in and criticising him with that, he's probably not happy with as well. But I think like you said, Dan Mourinho falls out of everybody at every club, but I think that Dele Alli is still a key player for Tottenham, and I think if them two could sort it out, and if Mourinho can get the best out of him, then he'd be an amazing player still.
Well, also is big reports coming out about Gareth Bale is now in talks with returning to Tottenham possibly on a loan deal, as they're saying at the moment, and possibly, as you said there, Dele Alli off to Real Madrid on a loan deal, which is quite weird because you would have thought a few years ago that would have happened. That didn't materialise, and now when he's not playing at his best, been described as lazy, he's off to Real Madrid. But it looks like it could be. It looks like we're slowly seeing the end of Dele Alli's time at Tottenham if this deal does happen, because we know he's in talks. Bale wants to return. He has expressed he wants to return. He wants to leave Real Madrid. He wants to play some football, not just golf and Wales, in that order. But will we see if Gareth Bale came back to Tottenham? Would that really show some statement of intent from Tottenham that they want to get back to glory, and especially somebody like Bale? He's such a good player on his day.
Yeah, he is, and I think them making that signing, if it is going to happen, I think that definitely puts a statement out there. Obviously, Bale's really not happy at Real Madrid. He hasn't been for a few years now. I think he was, that close to going to China, and Real Madrid called that off. I can't remember exactly the whole story about that, but obviously he wasn't happy with that. He's not interested in playing football there. So I think he'll be really happy to come back to Tottenham. He's had such a good time there before, so I think he'll be happy coming back. And I think if he comes to Tottenham, he'll be a crucial player. And I'd love to see Bale back in the Premier League as well. He's a world-class player, and I don't know if that will sort out all of Tottenham's problems. Obviously, one player is not going to sort out everything, but I think it'll be a massive morale boost for them if they get Bale at Tottenham, and I think he'll definitely make an impact.
We probably want to return to Tottenham so he can play some new courses. He's probably playing on the same courses at Madrid for too long. He needs to freshen up a little bit, doesn't he?
It's for London courses. I think it would be a huge move for Tottenham, especially if they look to get that Regali as well from Real Madrid, who obviously was a Manchester United target, and it's something Tottenham need to do. I was thinking about it, sort of, the season Leicester won the league, Tottenham had come up and they sort of started to solidify themselves as title challengers, and obviously the season after that when Chelsea won up, Tottenham were up there, and then over the next few seasons they've been there, and obviously they got to the Champions League final, and I just feel like those players that come through and had that class, it started to come down, sort of, Tottenham are going back to the way they were. So I feel like with these signs, it's something that they need to do to build up. They've got the stadium, they've got the manager, and then they need to get players like that, like Gareth Bale, who I think even at his age, he'll be one of the best players in the Premier League. I think he's such a class player, and it'll be a huge move for Tottenham. And if they can get that defender as well, then I think they can definitely try and get top four.
Especially under Manchester United noses as well. I'll just be rubbing it in from Jose Mourinho, wouldn't it? It'd be a little dig. I think we can describe it as well. From one side, from one team, North London, to another, Arsenal. They're currently top of the Premier League after beating Fulham 3-0. And also, Aubameyang has signed a new contract at Arsenal, a 3-year contract at Arsenal. It looks like the future's now looking good for Arsenal. The future's looking bright. Some good news finally, not bad news at Arsenal. I know they won't hold on to first place. I think that's sort of a bit out of their reach at the moment. But if they continue on the way they're going, we could see it being the Arsenal of old here soon.
I think that it is looking positive for Arsenal. I think obviously the signing of Aubameyang, his new contract, is crucial for them. He's looked so good. I think that his goal against Fulham proved that. That was a fantastic finish. But obviously, as you said, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to stay where they are. It's been one game. It was against the newly promoted side. They should be winning that anyway. Last season, they should have won that game. So, yeah, I do think it is looking positive for Arsenal. I think Arteta, he has got a tough task on his hands. It's going to be tough to get top four this year with the team that he has. But I think, the side looks decent, and I think they'll give it a better try than they did last year. I think it will definitely be closer. But whether they can get top four, I really don't know. I think it'll be a really tough task because we know what Arsenal are like. It happens every season. So, yeah, I think it's going to be tough to get top four this year for them.
Yeah, I think that they look good in that game, but I don't know. I think Arsenal need to calm down a little bit. I think, there's a lot of fight behind them. Obviously, they just lost one of their best goalkeepers today, Martinez. He's gone. Obviously, brilliant for Aubameyang to sign the deal. He's their best player by far. I think they really would have missed out. They have got some good players, but I still think that there's still a lot of work to do for Arsenal. I know they won their FA Cup and they've done well in that, and they've won the Community Shield. But I still think there's a lot more. There's a lot more to go through. There's so many games they need to play, and they had a good win against Fulham. But people reckon Ipswich can beat Fulham, so obviously Arsenal are going to be able to beat them. So I think when they play the top six, I think that'll be the real test them. Even their North London derby against Tottenham, I'd like to see how they do against that. But I think Arsenal still got a long way to go before they can challenge for the title. I think if they can keep up this form and people believe the way that they're playing is good in Arteta, then maybe they can get top four this season. But I would say that they're still very far off challenging for a title.
Well, from the Premier League, we now move to the Carabao Cup, where we saw some Premier League sides back in action. And here's a little roundup of round two. So Aston Villa, as you just spoke there, as Emily Martinez has now transferred to Aston Villa. They cruised through to the third round after beating Birmingham 3-1, thanks to Ollie Watkins' first goal on his debut. Looks like he's going to do quite well there. Jack Grealish scoring a fine volley after signing a 5-year extension at Aston Villa. So Manchester United, you can't have him anymore now. And Keenan Danis getting his first goal for Aston Villa, setting up a tie against Bristol City or Northampton in the third round. Lincoln City won 5-0 against Bradford City, and they will be hosting Liverpool in the next round at home. So what a tie for Lincoln City, especially to have Liverpool come to their place. It would be fantastic. Leighton Orient did a fight back against Plymouth to earn a tie against Tottenham at home. They could possibly beat Tottenham. This would be quite interesting. In the third round, thanks to Danny Johnson's 93rd minute winner, which is nice to see. And also Bournemouth beat Crystal Palace 11-10 on penalties. All 20 outfield players scored, but Begovic, his penalty was saved as a appalling penalty. But Wayne Hennessy delivered by skying it up to Rosed instead, blazing it all over the bar. But then Begovic redeemed himself by saving Luka Modric's penalty, earning them a place in the next round and also a tie against Manchester City. It looks like the annual fixture of Man City playing Bournemouth is returning, and we can't wait for Man City just to dominate the competition and win it all again. I know they've got a new trophy for the Carabao Cup. Should it just be called the Man City Trophy?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, it will change hands this year.
You sure? Who's going to win it?
Is it going to be Chelsea by any chance, Piers?
Well, I didn't want to say anything. So, if you're going to bring it up, Dan, yeah, maybe.
Here we go again. He's getting biased again. It's like last week. He's getting all biased again. Look, he's going bright red now. He's getting all biased. Well,
can't help it. I just think we're going to win everything.
I wish I could say the same for a local fan. Well, unfortunately, guys, we're at the end of the show. We've talked about everything in football at the moment. It's all going on. Actually, I'm just going to do a quick check, make sure we haven't missed anything else. And apart from, I know we've got Emmy Martinez transferred. No, that's everything. Football's all now up to date for another minute or so until something brand new comes on. Well, I want to say thank you for listening to the show. Before I forget to mention, you want to follow us on any of our social medias. It's pretty simple. So Twitter's at Pitchside Talk, Instagram's Talk_Pitch, YouTube is Pitchside Talk, and Mixcloud is Pitchside Talk as well. Well, next week we'll be talking about Ipswich Town. They'll be playing in the league against Bristol Rovers. That'll be a fascinating game to watch. We've got the Premier League returning, and possibly we might talk about our club. I don't know what club yet. We'll see. Maybe Tottenham, if they get those transfers through in time, hopefully. Well, Ivan George, thank you, Dan and Piers, for joining me. I guess I'll see you guys next week for another show. Well, you're contracted to another show, so.
Yeah,
I've got a choice.
Yeah, we've got.
Can't be playing golf.
You can't play golf because as we all have to stay at home, unfortunately, which is quite a sad thing. But it is how the world is going at the moment. Well, I've been George. You've been listening to Pitchside Talk. See you next week, and ciao.
Yeah.
Cheers.
The whistle has been blown for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.